Episode 57, Execute the Incident Response Plan with Confidence, we turn to one of the most defining moments in any security program, the moment when preparation meets reality. During a real incident, the difference between panic and practiced execution is often the difference between contained impact and cascading harm. The goal in this episode is to take the structure you have designed on paper and convert it into calm, coordinated action under pressure. Incident response is not a performance for auditors. It is a lived discipline that protects customers, upholds trust, and demonstrates competence. For an exam candidate, explaining and executing this discipline with clarity is a direct reflection of readiness for high-stakes operational environments. A decisive start begins with clear criteria for declaring an incident. Teams lose precious minutes when they debate whether a situation counts or wait for perfect certainty before acting. Classification frameworks, often with severity levels tied to business impact, help cut through hesitation. These classifications consider scope, such as how many systems or users are affected, and stakeholder impact, such as risk to cardholder data, customer transactions, or critical service uptime. Once criteria are met, declaring an incident promptly sets the entire plan in motion, aligning teams around a common understanding and granting authority to take necessary actions. As soon as an incident is declared, defined roles are activated to bring order to a chaotic moment. The incident commander provides overall direction and decision authority. Communications leads handle updates to executives, customers, and regulators. Operations responders focus on system triage and technical containment. Forensic specialists gather and preserve evidence, while a business liaison tracks customer and operational implications. These assignments ensure that no one person is trying to do everything and that each function works in parallel without stepping on others' efforts. When roles are understood and rehearsed, activation feels natural and reduces confusion. Preserving evidence is one of the most important early steps, especially in environments with regulatory exposure. That means snapshotting affected systems, securing relevant logs, and recording volatile data before it is overwritten. Every decision, what was taken offline, what was accessed, what was changed, should be documented meticulously as part of the incident timeline. These records support later investigations, legal reviews, and lessons learned activities. Evidence preservation also protects the organization from claims that systems were altered in ways that compromise the integrity of subsequent analysis. With evidence secured, containment becomes the priority. Containment involves isolating compromised hosts from networks, rotating credentials that may have been exposed, and disabling affected interfaces or access paths that attackers could use to pivot. The goal is to limit further harm without causing unnecessary outages, which requires coordination between operations teams and security leaders. Effective containment often includes blocking suspicious addresses, disabling vulnerable components temporarily, or segmenting portions of the environment to prevent lateral movement. Throughout, you balance decisiveness with caution, ensuring that actions taken do not destroy evidence or worsen instability. Eradicating root causes follows once containment is stable and evidence is preserved. This phase involves removing malicious artifacts such as implants or unauthorized accounts, patching exploited vulnerabilities, and addressing configuration weaknesses or third-party exposures. It may also include re-imaging systems or rebuilding services using known good baselines. The eradication process must be documented clearly so that auditors, assessors, and internal reviewers can trace what was done and why. Root cause analysis helps correlate symptoms seen during the incident with underlying deficiencies, whether in technology, process, or access control. Recovery is the step where services are brought back online deliberately and in a controlled manner. Before reopening systems to users or customers, teams validate the integrity of code and data, confirm that patched or rebuilt components perform as expected, and run targeted smoke tests against critical paths. Performance metrics are reviewed to ensure that normal load can be handled without unexpected degradation. User experience is also tested, particularly for payment flows, authentication services, and administrative functions. Recovery is complete only when both technical teams and business stakeholders are satisfied that the environment is safe and reliable, not simply available. Communication throughout the incident can either maintain or erode trust. Communications teams coordinate internal updates to executives, concise situation reports for technical stakeholders, and carefully verified statements for customers, partners, and regulators. Only validated facts should be shared. Speculation and unverified assumptions can create legal, regulatory, and reputational complications. Timing also matters. Stakeholders should be informed early enough to act, but not so early that information changes with every discovery. Clear, honest communication demonstrates professionalism and helps contain the broader business impact of technical disruption. To ensure that actions remain coordinated and traceable, the incident response team maintains a living timeline throughout the event. This timeline records who performed which actions, when decisions were made, and what evidence or reasoning supported those decisions. Ownership of tasks is clearly assigned, and status updates are logged continuously. Over the course of an incident, this timeline becomes the central shared artifact that aligns the team's understanding and later supports post-incident reviews, regulatory inquiries, and insurance claims. It preserves organizational memory at a moment when people may be operating under significant stress. Many incidents involve third parties, which is why managing external coordination is a formal part of the plan. This may include engaging cloud providers, managed service partners, or critical vendors whose systems contribute to the incident. Legal counsel can provide guidance on regulatory obligations, notification requirements, and evidence handling. Insurers may need to be contacted to trigger coverage conditions. Each of these interactions must be documented, and their advice or actions woven into the technical and communication tracks. Without deliberate third-party coordination, response can become fragmented and risky. An incident should not be considered complete until it is formally concluded. This includes confirming that all objectives have been met, containment achieved, root causes eradicated, services recovered, and communication obligations fulfilled. Residual risks must be assessed to determine whether temporary compensating controls or further hardening is needed. The incident commander typically signs off on closure, and a summary is shared with leadership to ensure visibility into what occurred and how it was resolved. Formal closure provides a moment to shift from response to reflection. A blameless review then distills the experience into meaningful learning. Blamelessness does not mean avoiding accountability. It means focusing on how systems, processes, and assumptions contributed to the incident rather than blaming individuals. The team examines what went well, what failed or was missing, and which signals or decisions could have surfaced problems earlier. These insights are translated into prioritized improvements, such as updated runbooks, stronger controls, better monitoring, or clearer escalation paths. Without this structured learning step, organizations risk repeating the same mistakes with each new incident. A brief mental review of the full cycle shows the coherence of this discipline. Classification starts the response with clarity. Evidence preservation protects the truth. Containment and eradication reduce harm, and recovery restores service with confidence. Communications, Documentation and structured reviews ensure that the organization understands not just what happened, but why. Each step builds on preparation and reinforces the next, demonstrating why incident response is a core capability for any mature security program. The practical conclusion for episode 57 is to take one concrete step today toward rehearsed confidence. Scheduling a tabletop exercise for a realistic scenario, whether it involves account compromise, payment service degradation, or data exposure, forces teams to practice their roles and challenge their assumptions. Updating call trees and contact lists before that exercise ensures that no one is scrambling for phone numbers during a real crisis. For an exam candidate, leading or contributing to these rehearsals is one of the strongest ways to demonstrate operational maturity and preparedness. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.